Alright, welcome to my patch 8.2 rundown. I did not expect this patch notes because we were having Worlds. I think they do this every year during Worlds, and it's still something that I don't really expect. In terms of relevancy, I think this is the least relevant patch notes of the year, because what ends up happening, unless there's another one after this, is that Riot Games goes on break near Worlds, and then they come back with a preseason patch. So stuff you're going to see here is just the stuff that kind of ends out the rest of the normal ranked season. That's kind of how I see it. So I think right now this would be a good patch for them to be able to hit certain strong champions that have been really strong over the course of the season, but not hard enough to where like, okay, in the last month of you grinded the challenger, by the way, like these champs suck ass now. So some of the things that I would like to see is are specific nerfs to like a couple of champions and a couple of roles. Maybe I would like to see like these are small nerfs, by the way, small nerfs to Aatrox, Urgot, Scion, Graves, Kaisa. Do I really want a Lucian nerf? Pike. What else? Aurelia, Akali. Yeah, that's about it. So if any of those champions get nerfed, I would be happy about this patch. Hopefully, multiple champions get nerfed. And I think generally speaking, we're going to be entering the point in time where, again, it's just the last month of the year. It's cool. You grind ranked before the season ends as you switch to a completely new patch. I just like to see those champions get hit a little bit. So what happens? What is the point of 8.2? This patch brings an update to the league's most daring, well-dressed, genius, athletic, glory-bound, handsome explorer Ezreal. Okay? So he's doing... They're releasing the new Ezreal. Pretty quiet patch. You switch gears behind the scenes from Worlds balancing toward preseason preparations. Yep. Mainly tuning a few things to be less lethal in the early game, other than Nami or Sion, who should ideally die at least sometimes, up from never. Got it. Cool. Ezreal. W has been redesigned, and this is the most important thing I want to see from the new Ezreal. What does the W do? So, long time ago, Ezreal's W used to tax speed slow, and then people just started maxing W because it was just OP. And then they removed that, and his W has always been kind of a filler spell ever since then. So you have a lot that you can do with it. So, okay, what else? Okay, new W. Fires an orb that sticks to the first champion or objective hit. Hitting the orb with an ability or attack detonates it. Detonating it with an ability refunds mana. Okay, it's got nice AP and AD ratios, 0.6, 0.7. AP is definitely way better than AD. 1150 range. Holy shit. That's a lot of range. Okay, the damage is okay. Cooldown's 12 seconds. Orb duration's 4. Costs 50 mana. And it refunds the entire cost of W plus 10, plus the ability that detonates it. That's actually kind of cool. So let's say you W in and then you E in, which is usually your largest mana source. Then you don't use any mana on 2 abilities, and you're able to just pump out damage. So you can be kind of much more resource conservative when it comes to Ezreal. It goes through minions. They took a little bit of AP power off because obviously this thing should be the main hitter. I get it. Prioritizes enemies affected by essence flux. Ooh. So if you W someone in the wave and you hit them with the W, you can now E aggressively and guarantee the E damage. I don't think it'll make W max second or first. I do, however, think that this is nice. It's really nice. This is really nice. This is super good quality of life change. I like everything here. It's not an oppressive ability. It's not super OP. You're not giving like free stealth or any of that. It's an ability that makes you... It makes you feel better about having another ability to line up in your rotation. I think that's good. I like it. Could have been a little bit more, I would say, crazy with the change. But you know what? I think this is good enough. Ari, our cooldown increased early. Okay. Well, recently the Ari with the double shadow with the glacial augment build is getting really popular recently. I don't necessarily know if Ari is the champion I can play against. Like when I play against players, like let's say I play against a great Ari player, I'm like, okay, well she outplayed me because she hit her abilities at good times. I don't think Ari's right now can like ulti and just wham you. It's more just like, okay, well her laning phase is kind of suspect, and until she builds up certain items, she's not very effective. But so I'm surprised they decided to nerf her so quickly here. I think maybe she might be better than I expect because the stuff I play usually does fairly well into Ari. So maybe just across the board, she's better than I think. At the moment, I just think she's an above average champion. That doesn't necessarily need a nerf here, especially because I see, you remember the quote, like the long list of champions I'd like them to nerf? That she wasn't on there from my perspective. So Evelyn, increase. Okay, actually, I wanted this champion to get nerfed. Not for competitive play, just because of for me. So she just beat my ass last game, but I do think she's one of the best solo queue junglers in the game, and I think that she could use a little bit of toning down. But that's entirely irrelevant. Not because I just got slammed by her last game. It's just because I think that she's still really, really strong. I learned from Santorin that he pretty much thinks Evelyn's the best solo queue champion in the game, and she's got a lot of tools to be able to abuse that. I think as we're shifting from, just focusing on solo queue, right, and then we're shifting to the preseason patch, toning her down is not a bad thing. So I like it. I actually like it a lot. All these nerfs sounds great. Graves. For all these skills, Graves take over early games too reliably, even for an early game oriented champion. He got 3 less AD. Okay, so let's put this into different numbers. Because when I first see the number 3, I think to myself, right, you're messing with me. Like, you're 100%, I would have rather you gave him a 1 damage AD nerf just to piss me off. 3 is a 5% base stat nerf to his attack damage. I would have preferred 6, but 3 ends up adding up quite a bit when you're looking to clear stuff. I think it's not as useless as people think, but I would have definitely preferred something between like the 3 to like, the 6 mark as opposed to the 3 mark. Anywhere between like actually 5 or 6 would have been a lot of AD for him to lose. This isn't going to change him from being good. He's still going to be great. Potentially best jungler in the game kind of stuff. Especially for solo queue, I expected a bigger nerf. I guess I should be happy he got one, as opposed to stuff like, Kali, Aatrox, Aurelia, who seems to have not been touched. But this, I would have hoped for something a little bit more. Jhin. Passive no longer scales off Halo Blades when Jhin is out of combat. It's a pretty substantial power down to Halo Blades. Bonus attack speed increases both his attack damage and the movement speed. He gets crits. So while most champions will be relatively unimpacted by Halo Blades, buffing the first auto, Jin's been reaping real benefits from the bug. Okay. I don't mind this nerf as long as the other ADs get toned down. I don't think Jhin necessarily at the moment is super impressive. And I think that there's a lot, like there's a couple picks that are better. So I don't mind if this is like the nerf to Jhin, but I'm better see like a Kai'Sa nerf or something coming. Okay, I don't see a Kai'Sa nerf. All right, let's keep going. Nami, W heal decrease. We're making Nami and her carry less resilient to threats from aggressive enemy lanes. So they nerfed her healing by 5 to 25 less. Damage to enemy champions unchanged. I think Nami is the champion I don't think of as OP. The way I see a lot of champions, like they're really good or they're really bad. Nami's always been like a above average mid-tier champion for me, in the sense that she has good laning pressure. Her scaling is not great, but but she is built to be able to be like a lane kind of staying champion, maybe a more aggressive laner, right? Not like Janna, who's a kind of like more passive, or Soraka, similar to Soraka, in my opinion. And I think that nerfing Nami is kind of weird right now, especially because we're in a meta where the melee threats are so powerful. Stuff like Alistar, stuff like Pyke are so strong. Braum, Kench are super strong that Nami sees zero play, from my perspective. And so I don't really see a reason why they would nerf Nami when you have like, one, she's not in the meta, in my opinion, for support. And two, she's got this like insane competition when it comes to like melee threats. I'm surprised she got nerfs out of everyone else on my list. Sion, base health regen decreased. Okay, Sion nerf, A+ for me. I'm down for any kind of Sion nerf. This champ is definitely OP. Like, for sure, they should never have buffed his shield thing, but now that they have, apparently they like it, so not going to revert that, going to his health regen. Fine. Runes, Dark Harvest base damage decreased. It shouldn't be the go-to pick for early mid-game damage. On top of that, we want to preserve Dark Harvest late-game scaling. So it goes 20 to 60 instead of... Okay, you lose 20 base, which is actually a lot early game. So my thoughts on this are... Remember when I had that big, gigantic rant about runes? Just like disgustingly big rant about runes and how hard they are to balance. So Dark Harvest... People taking Dark Harvest was because... Electrocute was so good. And after Electrocute was so good, well, people started taking Electrocute because Scorch got nerfed alongside, I think, Aerie and Comet. I don't know if that's enough Comet got nerfed, but essentially the damage dealing threats, the DPS used to take Aerie plus Scorch to win lane. And then they shifted to Electrocute because it was so strong that pretty much everyone can use it. And then they switched to Dark Harvest because Electrocute got nerfed and Dark Harvest is just like the meta rune to take. It's the best rune at the available time. So what happens when Dark Harvest gets nerfed? I guess people go back to using Electrocute again. I don't think Dark Harvest should have so many people taking... Like, so many people taking it. Like, I don't think Dark Harvest should be a thing where every jungler takes it. So I do agree with this nerf. However, look at what they're running into problem-wise. So on top of this, while the offensive carrying-oriented damage runes have been nerfed here, consecutively, look at stuff like Aftershock and Grasp. Like, people are going to start looking toward that more. And to be honest, stuff like what? Lissandra already uses it, and maybe other people start using toward Phase Rush and Aftershock because you're getting such little value off of the damage oriented runes that it becomes a problem. I think I would like there to be perfect balance amongst the runes, but at the moment it just feels like we're playing whack-a-mole. All right, Scorch is strong, and I agree, they needed to nerf it, right? We're whacking out Scorch. All right, Electrocute, so we're whacking Electrocute, and now it's Dark Harvest's turn. And you know what's going to happen next? Aftershock's going to be next on the list. And then at some point, every rune gets nerfed down, and maybe we've hit either one of two situations. We've hit a situation where we've had perfect like kind of equality where people can choose any of the rune they want, or we hit a situation where runes don't matter as much. And the entire kind of concept behind the runes reforged was the fact that runes are choices that you should be proud of, like that you can be like, this is a tangible impact on the game. And we're heading toward one of those two solutions, and definitely the former is the one that's much harder to get to. I think this is a good example of like how hard it is to balance the game, because at no point during any of their nerfs was like, this is incorrect. I do think you should nerf this. However, we've gotten to the point where even though they've done, in my opinion, they've seen the problem and they've chosen a correct option to deal with it, we're still reaching this situation, the whack-a-mole situation, which is kind of sucks. Okay, let's keep going. Positional matchmaking, in the season eligibility, bug fixes, and skins. Dragon Trainer Heimer? Alright, this is the best thing about the patch. Everything else sucks. Alright, I guess I was kind of short. So of the list that I asked for, Graves and Sion got nerfed, and I'm happy they nerfed Eve. And so we're missing nerfs on Lucian Kaisa, Akali Aurelia, Aatrox Urgot. So I just want to say, I think it could have been the game could have been a little bit better, in my opinion. Or the nerfs or the patch could have been a little bit better. I'm not asking for gigantic nerfs to these champions. I'm asking for like small nerfs. Maybe not base this small, but like a little bit. I would say the patch is overall good, but I just expected a lot more. But to be honest, it's the least relevant patch for me to expect more. Like, who cares, right? This is the dying breath of the current patch, the last meta. This is the thing before the start of the preseason. I shouldn't care as much, but I guess I'm still somewhat expectant of. I expected different things or more nerfs. Cool. Anyways, let's get back to gaming.